Colin White here with Martekrs, and we've got a new segment of the Martech Minute. This time we've got Katie Staveley. She's the VP of Marketing at Mautic Software here in the Boston area. They are a very cool marketing automation play with origins in the open source community. Tune in and learn more about them. Okay, thanks for joining us on the Martech Minute. This is Colin White. I am the founder of Martekrs, and today I'm here with Katie Staveley. She's the VP of Marketing at Mautic, and they are a marketing automation vendor here in the Boston area. Hi, Katie. Thanks for joining me today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great. So tell me a little bit about Mautic. You guys have been around for a couple of years, and I believe you started off as in an open source model. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about how the company's evolved over the last couple of years.
Sure. So the product itself, Mautic, the marketing automation platform, has or was developed about 4 years ago, started by our founder, David Hurley. So David, saw a need in the market, saw that the existing vendors, there were many of them out there, but they weren't really sort of keeping up with, modern marketing needs. And so had been a big open source community participant in other ways before, and decided, let's build a product and work with open source to bring it to market. And so built the product originally about 4 years ago, started the open source community, got to the point where the product was essentially ready for prime time, and decided to complement that open source community with a commercial business. So, when you look for Mautic, you'll see Mautic.org, which is that original community, and then Mautic.com, which is our commercial business where we offer hosted Mautic for customers.
Right. Do you have a lot of crossover in between those two communities where somebody starts on the .org, the open source, and then moves to the commercial version?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely do.
Okay. So who do you guys consider your target market? Are you B2B, B2C, a combination?
Yeah, I mean, for us, our primary market, we're oriented around mid to large size enterprises. And because Mautic offers a number of different features like multi-channel communications, ABM, dynamic content, we really see it as being a viable solution for both B2B and B2C organizations. And that's proving true. So we're finding that we're gaining customers in both of those areas.
Okay. And do you see your customers, are they primarily starting with marketing automation for the first time, or do you see a lot of folks switching over from legacy systems?
It's a good question. We see a mix, actually. So we see three kind of categories of people. We see, or organizations. Some organizations, are total greenfield, have never used marketing automation before. Maybe somebody on their team has used it at some other company before, but the organizations themselves haven't been using it. We see another group where they've used the Marketos and the Pardots and the Eloquas of the world, and they're really looking for something that's more modern, more flexible, easier to use. And so, that's where we kind of are being pulled in as an option for them in that way. The third category we see, which is a little bit overlap on the first one, is folks that have been using a combination of smaller tools. So things like they might have MailChimp plus Unbounce plus, one or two Hootsuite or something like that, where they're sort of working with sort of point solutions and sort of trying to get to automating or nurturing from that way. But really haven't had sort of the what we would traditionally think of as a marketing automation platform.
Okay, so you're trying to bring together all of those different components into one unified platform.
That's right. Yep, exactly.
Okay. And so maybe we could drill down just a sec on account-based marketing. You mentioned that pretty prominently in your solution. What are you guys doing specifically for ABM?
Yeah, and so what we've done in the tool itself is really the underlying value of Mautic is that automation piece. So, aside from just, when you think of marketing automation, you think of email marketing and lead nurturing and things like that. So we've sort of taken that to the next level. And so we are automating all of those pieces. But in addition to that, we have additional channels that you can automate: text messages, mobile push notifications, web notifications, all in the same campaign. And the way that we're sort of leveraging information to do that is a little bit different too. And this is where the ABM thing comes in. So we have actually, within the tool itself, sort of operationalized or separated contacts from companies, similar to the way that you would see it in a Salesforce, where you have contacts and accounts and that relationship between those two. We've done the same thing on the marketing side within Mautic. So it makes it easier for you to start to do scoring at a company level, to really sort of tailored dynamic content campaigns based on company information versus just the individual contact.
Got it. So I also noticed that, I think it was at the Martech conference or maybe slightly before that, you announced a new, I don't know if you call it a product or it's called Maestro. So I guess it's aimed at agencies and enterprises. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Mautic, the first product, was marketing automation, and really, again, that platform that allows you to do everything from lead nurturing, landing pages, forms, ABM, all those things. And so what we've done with Maestro is we built a product that enables companies, more enterprises and agencies, to manage multiple accounts of marketing automation. So the value that provides is that it gives them the ability to have a single point of access to multiple accounts. So if you're an enterprise where you have maybe multiple business units, or you might have multiple regions, and you want them to have their own sort of database or a place for them to isolate their business or their unit, or their region in a separate, account, you can do that. So you can have an account for maybe the US region, an account for your EMEA region, maybe for APAC, keep those three things separate, but still you would use Maestro to kind of roll all that information up. So you can do rolled up reporting, you can copy campaigns across accounts, and you can sort of manage your accounts from that point of view as well. For the agency side, it's similar, right? You would have those different accounts for different clients, for example, where you'd still have each of those different features available. But the other thing that we're doing through Maestro is allowing you to customize the branding of those accounts. So if it was something where, as an agency, you're offering marketing automation as a solution and you're using Mautic as the underlying technology to do that, you would be able to customize the look and feel of that account to make it either match your brand or match your customer's brand, and give it a little bit more of a sort of, unique feeling for your end users.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. And then I noticed also on your website, you've got a new product coming down the pike called Maven, I believe.
We do.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so really what Maven is going to do is start to bring more intelligence into the automation piece. So it's something that we'll be bringing to beta later on this year, going into early next year. And really what it's going to allow or enable is, organizations to have to think less about the tedious nature of building campaigns and letting, the data kind of drive those things. And what I mean by that is, what you'll be able to do is start to trigger campaigns that are much more informed by things you already know. So a really simple example would be something like, let's say you wanted to trigger a campaign where all of the emails were being sent at 8 a.m. in the morning to all of your contacts. Today, in order to do it 8 a.m. Eastern time, 8 a.m. Central time, 8 a.m. Pacific time, those would be 3 different emails that you would have to trigger.
Right.
What the intelligence will do is say, I know what region you're in. I know when it's 8 o'clock for you, I'm just going to send it to you in your time zone at the right time. So that's a really simple example. As the product grows and as things kind of get more sophisticated, we'll be doing things where, okay, I know what your preferences are around, you prefer email over text, or you prefer text over mobile push notifications. The automation itself will know which channel to deliver the message to your audience and automatically do that for you without the marketer or the end user having to really think that through.
Right.
And then when we take it to kind of the really sophisticated level, what we're going to start, what we'll build in eventually is the using anonymized aggregated data to start understanding trends overall. Excuse me. So if there are people or if there's information that that we're collecting in our data center around conversion benchmarks for particular types of emails or conversion benchmarks, across all of the accounts for Mautic, we'll start to incorporate, that's where we sort of start to get into the AI component. We'll start to incorporate those learnings and that information to further optimize campaigns in an automated way.
Yeah, yeah, artificial intelligence is obviously super hot in the space right now, so it's great that
Absolutely.
you're getting into that that
Absolutely.
capability. So yeah, just to wrap up, Katie, this has been great. What's the best way for folks in B2B marketers, especially because that's who I generally talk to? What's the best
Sure.
way for them to get a look at the Mautic product?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways. So, if you really want to just get your hands dirty and get right into it, we do have a free offering on the site. So if you go to mautic.com/pricing, you'll see, information about our pro version, our professional version, and then we do have a free version. So it's completely blank. It's a blank slate. So you could go in, you could, set up an email, see how campaigns work, things like that. If it's something where you're kind of a self-learner, if it's something where you'd rather just somebody walk you through the product, of course, we'd be happy to do that. So I personally give demos all the time, but we have, a sales team here that also gives demos. So if it's something where you just want to explore some of the functionality, whether or not you have a need right now, we'd be happy to kind of walk you through the product and show you a little bit more information on it.
Okay. Well, Katie, thanks
Okay.
very much for joining me today on the Martech Minute. That's been a great overview of
My
Mautic,
pleasure.
and wish you guys luck in the future.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks for viewing this installment of the Martech Minute. If you'd like more information about Mautic's marketing automation solutions, visit their website at www.mautic.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon on another installment of the Martech Minute.